Hey everyone, either welcome back or welcome to my channel. And in today's video, I want to talk about some exciting new research that's actually just come out this past week with regards to IIH. I also want to share some of the questions that first came up and my initial thoughts on this research, because it's hard getting research done with this condition and it's exciting when it does happen. So before I get into any more details, time for the intro. There's actually been a couple of really interesting studies that's come out with regards to IIH in the past couple of days as of the point I'm filming this right now. It's actually more like the last week or so. One of them is actually on the relationship of IIH with metabolism. So the research is showing that IIH is a metabolic disorder as much as it is a brain disorder. That's really interesting and hopefully will mean changes to the treatment plan with regards to IIH. And then the other one is about a successful treatment with regards to weight loss. So they found that bariatric surgery is actually one of the most effective treatments for helping get intracranial pressure down. There's been recent research actually that shows us there's been an increase in risk for heart disease and type 2 diabetes with people who have IIH. Now, the interesting thing about the heart disease is that they were actually able to make it independent of weight. So a lot of these things I think are going to make a lot of sense to people who have background in medical stuff, because I'm going to be mentioning things like heart disease, type 2 diabetes, leptin, and all of that. And when I first heard some of these things, I'm just like, of course, because all of that is related to an increase in weight. Now, just before I get into this too far, I need to say that I am not a doctor. I have a bachelor's degree in biochemistry, so if you're wondering how I'm kind of able to reason my way through this, that is why I am basing it pretty much all on what I learned during my undergraduate degree. Make sure that if you have any questions about this kind of stuff that you talk to your doctor about it. The interesting thing about the heart disease risk increase is that they were actually shown it was independent of weight. So that means that people of the same weight who had IIH, the people who have IIH actually have an more increased risk of getting heart disease than compared to people who don't have IIH but are of the same weight. I think there's a lot more than just weight that factors into that. Like, you've got things like genetics and background and socioeconomic factors as well that plays into that role that needs to be looked at. But the fact that they found it independent of weight is, I think, very important. In this latest study, they actually found that people with IIH have excess levels of androgens in their system. This means that IIH could actually be a condition where hormones are out of balance as well. The androgens are things like testosterone. The most interesting part of this, though, is the abnormal metabolism that was shown with regards to IIH. They showed an increase in insulin resistance. So for those of you who are unaware, insulin resistance is commonly seen in type 2 diabetes. The second thing about this metabolism is actually an increase in leptin. At the time I was first experiencing symptoms of IIH, I was slightly overweight, but not obese. I think I weighed about 150 some pounds. I don't remember exactly what it was because it was over 3 years ago now, but I wasn't technically obese. If you take the BMI standard and applied it to my height, I was close, but I wasn't quite there. And I went from 155-ish pounds to 187 pounds by August that year. So I was first weighed at the end of January as a part of going through the initial issues that I had when I was in university. They actually weighed me. And so I had a reference point then, but I gained a significant amount of weight in between the time I first started getting sick and when I was actually diagnosed with IIH. I honestly believe a majority of my weight gain was due to the fact that I was actually sick and not because of any change in habits or anything like that. When I was first diagnosed with IIH, as I have stated before, one of the reasons why I was so frustrated was because of how long it was taking for me to see results. The biggest question that I had when I first went through this was, how does this new research with regards to the metabolic effects, with regards to those of us who have IIH, affect those of us who are now in remission with optic nerves? Because honestly, if this still applies, even though my optic nerves are in remission, if this is still a factor, does this mean that I need further counseling and making sure that I'm doing everything to avoid risk factors? Because I'm now at risk for things like insulin resistance, and these issues with leptin that I have make me more prone to weight gain. So do the patients like me need to continue to be treated with regards to this, or because weight loss kind of also helps all these other things as well, is that still a factor? I really honestly think that weight loss and the weight issues definitely cannot be blamed on the patient now at this point. Another big question, or question that came to mind when I was going through this and preparing for this video, was, could this explain why I had such rapid weight gain between the time that I started noticing symptoms of what I now believe is IIH and actually getting the diagnosis of IIH and being put on medication for it? Because if this is a really big factor, it makes me even more nervous in how well I'm going to be able to keep this weight off. One of the things actually that's in the research when I was researching IIH initially is that a lot of doctors seem to notice that people get IIH after a rapid weight gain. So it puts you at a really high risk for developing IIH when you have a really rapid weight gain, like really quickly. And what my question is basically with this is the rapid weight gain in this case actually the first sign that something is wrong before the symptoms actually develop into the things that can be detected? And I think that's something where research needs to go too. There's been recent research actually on bariatric surgery with regards to IIH being the most successful. In this study, they compared bariatric surgery to a community weight loss program. In this case, it was Weight Watchers. In my opinion, this isn't the best comparison, but when it comes to the results, I wasn't surprised because I'm pretty sure I've seen research, and I can't remember where it was, but I've seen research already that indicates that bariatric surgery actually is the most successful in terms of keeping weight off, not only in the long term, but so it's not only the most successful to get the weight off initially, but it's actually the most successful in maintaining weight loss over a longer period of time. As I've said before, weight loss is one of the hardest things because it's very hard to maintain. I was told that if I wasn't successful in losing weight that I would be referred to bariatrics. My biggest question with regards to this is that weight loss surgery comes with not only a lot of risks, but there's long-term consequences of doing bariatrics. Isn't that just giving the patient more problems? It makes sense that it's the most successful, but is it the right choice? And I guess that's going to depend basically individually on the person. If you're enjoying my content, please feel free to subscribe. Remember that it's completely free. It just allows us to reach more people with IIH and migraines. When you're subscribing, don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss any of my upcoming future content. If you enjoyed this particular video, be sure to give it a like. If you're watching this on Facebook or Instagram, be sure to like and follow. And as for now, that's it for today. Bye everyone.